Hi, my name is Erin Forsyth, and I am in the Concurrent Education program under the Primary Junior Division at Brock University. This year I'm in my 5th year, which means I'm in Teachers College, and that basically means that I'm in lots of fun courses. This year I'm in one of the courses, which is a technology course titled Education 8Y34. In this technology course, our professor, Brian Clancy, has challenged us teacher candidates to create or enroll ourselves in a project called Genius Hour. So, for those of you who don't know, Genius Hour is basically a new and exciting movement in education and in the classroom that a lot of teachers are trying with their students. And it basically asks students to, or it gives students the opportunity to try something new within the classroom. By that, students are given 1 hour a week to engage in exploration on something that they're passionate about. They're told to explore and to discover about something that maybe they don't know what to do, like they haven't learned yet, or they are interested in, or they already know lots about and want to learn more about. So basically, they develop a project, completely their choice, and again, it focuses on a passion of theirs. So this project, in most cases, provides, again, choice for the students, so they get to select what they want to do it on. And then it also really encourages creativity, which is something that we don't often, we do hopefully in the new schools, but we didn't often see, and we're often adding to the classroom nowadays. So the only rules for Genius Hour project, there's only 3, is that it must be approved by the teacher, so the project idea must be approved by them. It must require some sort of research, so they can't know everything about it and just do a project on it. It's not really like an assignment as much as it is they have to search up ideas about it and actually learn about something new. And then the 3rd rule is that the project must be presented and shared at the end. So to the classmates or to the teacher, or in some sort of form which could be changed by the teacher depending on the class or their projects that they've selected. The way that something like this may be assessed is the kids would be assessed on organization. So maybe an organization of the artifacts they've got, the presentation, etc. They're also assessed on the quality of that project, so how they were able to do that research, how they were able to come to some sort of finalized project, and what it looks like. And then the final way to assess it is on that wow factor. So this is the main part of the project, where students are able to kind of give that oomph and that fun part of the assignment and add to their knowledge in some way. So, in addition to us learning what Genius Hour is, Professor Clancy also challenged us to actually engage in a Genius Hour project ourselves. That way we're able to kind of learn about what the benefits are of adding this into our class, maybe the downfalls that are included that we aren't necessarily seeing because it's so new and exciting, and how it may motivate students to participate in, again, that project, or maybe in later classes or other classes, how it may help their learning in general. So I started by asking myself the question that all the teachers would get their students to ask before they would do a project, and that is, what am I passionate about? What am I interested in? What do I want to learn more about? So for me, I'm very passionate about music. I sing, and I used to perform very often when I was younger, playing the guitar and so on. I unfortunately, though, lost touch playing that guitar, so I'm really interested in actually doing a Genius Hour to learn more about the guitar and more about playing certain chords that I don't know yet. So for my timeline for this assignment, I gave myself from September to November. That way it was like the first week we were posting on our blog, I was able to update myself, and then I would hopefully be able to learn a new chord by the end of November, which is now, by the end of that course before we go into our practicum block, when I have 1,000 other things to be worrying about. My goals for this Genius Hour was, again, to learn to play a new chord, to be able to play a full song and actually play that chord within that new song. And have fun, obviously. I want to be able to make this exciting, just like I would, as a teacher, want my students to have fun while they're doing their own Genius Hour project. So the materials I would need for this is obviously a guitar, which I have right here in this lovely box, hidden up. A tuner, so a guitar tuner, so that I'm, playing the guitar properly. A pick, so a guitar pick. And then my computer. And for that, I would obviously go on YouTube to search tutorials so that I'm learning that new chord. I often went on Ultimate Guitar, which is a website that shows different chords and how to play different songs. And sometimes has tutorials on there as well. And then obviously a search forum, so Google, so that I was able to do research on on which chord I wanted to do. So, following my proposal pitch for my Genius Hour and all my planning, I got right to it. So to start, I started blogging about my Genius Hour. On my first blog, I talked about how I already know a few chords, well, most of them. So I know the main ones, which are G, D, E minor, E, C, A minor, and A. And I knew a few other ones, but not off of muscle memory as much. I would maybe just learn it just to be able to play a song. So once I thought about new chords, I kept going back to the chord F. So this to me was kind of like the devil chord, because my hands were always too small to play it. So I really struggled to learn it because it has a technique to it where you have to hold with your pointer finger, and my pointer finger was never able to reach or be strong enough to do that. So I never really gave it much of an effort, and so I couldn't play half the songs I love to listen to on the guitar because I couldn't play that F chord that was involved in those songs. So I thought, definitely I'm going to try to do that. So again, I started to look at what the F chord would look like. So this is one option to do for the F chord, and that's what I was going to go off of. Okay, so then in my second blog post, I talked a little bit about my tuner. So first step, you got to tune your guitar. So I use the app Guitar Tuna, which looks like this. And it's a cool app. It's really easy to use, and it actually picks up, it's on your phone, and it just picks up the sound of the guitar as you tune it, so that you can see like if you need to turn the strings up or down and so on. So it's really easy to use. So I got my guitar tuned, and then I started my research. So as soon as I started research, was all the ways I could play the F chord, because there's never just one way to play a chord, there's always millions of ways. So just on Ultimate Guitar alone, there were 14 options of how to play the F chord. So that was the hard part, is actually looking at the different chords and figuring out which one I thought that I could do. So I started by looking or practicing each one on the guitar and seeing if my hands could kind of mold that way easily and be able to transition to other chords as well from that chord. So a lot of them had this bar note, and that basically on the sheet looks like showing like finger one and then a line, and on the guitar it looks like this. So you basically have your pointer finger along, and then you're playing the rest of the chord with the rest of your fingers. And that actually acts as kind of like a capo. So that's the main thing that I learned when I was researching about the F chord. And again, I really struggled to figure out how I was going to be able to do that. So after a lot of practice and a lot of figuring out of which chord I was going to do, I almost gave up on this Genius Hour, which kind of made me think a lot about how my students may, reach some barriers when they're doing their Genius Hour. So it was good to keep that in mind, of how I can help them and how I can transition them into a different option or other routes to be able to discover. So with that in mind, I decided to phone a friend. So I called my friend who I met at camp, who's an avid guitar player, and asked her, like, how do you play the F chord? Because you make it look so easy, and I'm trying to learn. she told me about this technique that she used, and she called it the cheat version of how to play the F chord. And basically, it looks like this. It does not have a barre note or positioning, and it's roughly a C, how you would play a C, but your two fingers are placed downward and two strings on the fret. So I was able to kind of look at that and try practicing that and hearing how that sound. And it did sound similar to an F chord that I was listening onto YouTube. So I thought, if this is how I need to do it in order to succeed in this Genius Hour, then that's how I'm going to go about it. So following that, I started practicing my transitions. So I would look, okay, I can go from a G to a D to an E minor, and then an F, or an F and a C, and an F and an A minor, or vice versa. So once I started practicing that, I was able to kind of get that rhythm. It wasn't meant to be for a song or anything. It just helped me kind of keep things going. Okay, so following that, I just kept practicing, and then I eventually started picking a song. So again, my goal was to be able to play a song with an F chord in it. So I got my song, and I had two options in the end. So I decided to reach out to my friends just for some more fun. So I tweeted, which is something that's on my Twitter is on my blog. So people were able to see it when they looked on my blog. And I tweeted out a poll of the two different songs and asked what they recommended I learned. So the two options were Keeping Score by Kelly Clarkson and Dan and Shay, or House That Built Me by Miranda Lambert. And so I basically tweeted out, hey guys, I need help picking a song for my Genius Hour to help me learn the F chord. Which one do you think I should do? And 80% of people said House That Built Me, so that was my choice. So again, I kept practicing, and then finally I ended up recording that final product and that song, and I posted it on my blog, and stay tuned to see what it looks like. I know they say you can't go home again. I just had to come back one last time. Ma'am, I know you don't know me from Adam, but these handprints on the front steps are mine. Up those stairs and in that little back bedroom is where I did my homework and I learned to play guitar. And I bet you didn't know, under that live oak, my favorite dog is buried in the yard. Thought if I could touch this place or feel it, this brokenness inside me might start healing. Out here it's like I'm someone else. I thought that maybe I could find myself if I could just come in. I swear I'll leave. Won't take nothing but a memory from the house that built me. So after that, I began to reflect a lot on what Genius Hour can mean for me as a future teacher. So I learned a few things. The first thing I learned is that this project can really inspire students in multiple ways, but mainly for them to see that they can do anything that they put their mind to or that they make time for. So that was great. It gave them, an option to thrive in a way that is encouraging and, on their own terms. So ultimately, I found it effective. I found it fun. It touches on the element to learn that is sometimes, neglected in the classroom, and that is passion, like student passion. So I really liked that portion of it. I started to think a lot about how motivation can play a role in this. So motivation in other subjects could actually be a result of this. So maybe they're putting all their energy and excitement into, one project, and they might not have it in another. But this actually kind of harnesses that and encourages students to, love the place that they're learning in, and hopefully bring that into other subjects, if not that project on its own. This may also encourage creativity, again, in another subject, so not just that passion or that interest or that motivation, but also creativity. And then it also finally exercised learning skills. So it got students being independent, finding answers on their own, learning to research, problem solving, and then it even had a component of collaboration, because I personally reached out to a friend and asked them for help on what they, already know about this Genius Hour project. And I think that students could do the same with their peers, parents, me, anything that they can reach out and, make communities within their small community. So how am I going to implement this in my class? So I personally am walking into teaching with a very brief understanding of my own philosophy. So that teacher philosophy so far is that I know that I wanted to have a positive and strong community classroom that's safe and that's built off the ethical standards of practice. So care, trust, integrity, and respect. And I think that this project really does harness that. Not only are they learning from other people and building that community, but they're enjoying that. And so that positivity is going to be infused into the classroom. So I would definitely implement this classroom into specific subjects. So maybe I could alter the Genius Hour so that it follows a certain theme. Maybe we're doing a science project and I want students to, explore on their own and explore, different subjects on their own way. So that's just one idea that I can implement it into the classroom. So overall, I really enjoyed my time in the technology course and doing this project, and I hope to implement it soon in the classroom and in my practicum. Thanks.